Hey, coach, are you always looking for a way to give your team a competitive advantage? Let me introduce you to Winning Edge Performance Analytics. Our technology captures comprehensive game data using your terminology and provides you with in game analytics. In real time, you're able to quickly assess your opponent's tendencies and perform self scout on the sidelines. Winning Edge is designed to help you spot more opportunities during the game so that you're not left wishing you'd noticed something during film review. Plus, Winning Edge automates film tagging, so you can say goodbye to hours of manually tagging over the weekend and get more time with your family. Our product is also budget friendly for programs of any size. And as a Coaching 101 listener, you'll get a 20% discount off your first year with promo code 20 off Coaching 101. All one word, no spaces. If more family time and more wins sound good, visit winningedgeperformanceanalytics.com to schedule a demo. We'll help get your team the advantage that you're looking for.
This podcast is powered by Team Builder Practice. Team Builder Practice is all the things you love about Team Builder's OG strength and conditioning software, but for football coaches. Keep practice plans in one central location, stay organized, and share plans with your whole staff with our software, designed with the football coach in mind. Team Builder Practice is offering a 30-day free trial to all listeners with the code COACH101. Head to teambuilder.com/practice to start your trial today. Football made simple. Become great at your craft by finding ways to make it simple for those around you. This is the Coaching 101 podcast hosted by Find a Way Productions with your co-host, Daniel Chamberlain and Kenny Simpson. What's up, coaches? It's the Coaching 101 podcast. I am Daniel Chamberlain. That is Kenny Simpson. We are finally back. Kenny, I think it feels like we took a month off, man. That was
yeah.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a minute. Summer will be that way. It's gonna be a little sporadic, but we'll figure out a way to make it work.
For sure. I got to ask how your vacation went. I forgot to ask you before we hit record.
Well, it was actually our church does a mission trip, so they go to Nicaragua, and my 17-year-old son came to me and said, "I want to go down there and serve," and I went, "Well, shoot, I think that's great." And so then our daughter wanted to go, and then our other son wanted to go, and my wife wanted to go. And at that point, I'm going, I can't be the only one that doesn't go down there and, try to help people. And so we went as a family, which is a really cool deal. I think anytime you go see that kind of poverty, it can definitely kind of refresh your perspective. A lot of our first world problems don't seem so important when you go down there. So it's a really, really cool deal. And it's cool to watch my kids, grow up and be mature in that. So it was a really, really neat deal. If you ever have a chance to take a team or, you guys are listening to this, take your family and go serve other people. You don't have to go to Nicaragua. You can probably go down the road and find some people, but anytime you can take them to see something different, it really will, I think it's a good thing to do.
That's awesome. I think I saw you teaching down blocks to what was that? Was that a little?
Yeah, we did. They asked me to do an American football camp, which we get down there, and we had 2 different locations. We went down there, and of course, these people, no idea about football. They understand football, but not, my version of it. So
for sure.
First one was little bitty ones. So we just kind of did some simple drills, worked on catching a ball, did a little 5-10-5 cone drill. That's what I posted. Second time we went, it was a little bit older kids. And so we did a couple other little drills, and we just played, just let them kind of experience football. You got to play it. And they played it better than we did because in their mind, it was unlimited passing. So they would catch a ball, run up and throw it to the next guy that was open. I was like, man, if that was like legit, that'd be tough to do, but it's cool to watch. Here's the deal. I can't even speak their language, but when you roll a ball out there, everybody kind of just becomes one. So it's kind of a really cool thing to do.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Well, good. I think it was a wonderful thing too to see. I saw you post social media clips and stuff of it, and that's just. I hope at some point I get a chance to do something like that because that's really neat.
That's pretty neat. Have you ever get a chance to go do football I know a lot of guys that do football overseas. That's fun, but football where you're with have no knowledge, it's very different.
That's awesome. Well, let's real quick, man. Let's jump into the quote of the week here, Kenny.
Yeah. So quote of the week is coming from William James. I'm not exactly sure who that is, but he has a really good quote, so we're going to roll with it. This is from Team Themes Volume 5, which we're working on getting out at the end of this summer. It's not out yet, but we do have Team Themes 1, 2, 3, and 4 all over at fbcoachsimpson.com. If you're interested in doing this stuff with your kids, it's a really, really good deal. Anyway, his quote today is, "The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. Life is filled with distractions, conflicts, and details that, while they may seem urgent, do not contribute to our growth or happiness. Wisdom involves discernment, choosing what battles to fight, what to prioritize, what to simplify, what to simply let go. It's about recognizing the difference between significant and insignificant." And so, to me, pretty good little quote. I can't pronounce that last word there, Daniel, so I want insignificant. So, superfluous, is that the right word?
You nailed it, dude. Let's go.
Superfluous. I'm already kind of a nerd. I start using big words. I'm really a nerd. But to me, I don't know exactly what he's trying to say, but the way I read it is understanding that, there you go, coach. You
missed them
get the
glasses,
glasses on.
You got
To me,
that.
though, the way I read it is, a lot of times we spend a lot of time on things that don't matter. And if you enjoy that, that's fun. But a lot of times we create work almost for the sake of creating work, instead of focusing on what is really going to help us either achieve our goal or do things that we would like to do. And a lot of times as coaches, it's the same way. And especially if you're a head coach. And I know this because the last 2 days, I feel like I've sat through more pointless meetings than I've been through in a bit, and done things that don't really contribute to us winning and losing as a team, and don't really contribute to our players becoming better people. So in my mind, those are on the bottom of the priority list. You got to do them, but that's not where we're going to grow our team or our players. And so a lot of times you can get bogged down in stuff like that. Just be careful if you can avoid doing things that aren't really going to help, or make sure that you are doing the things that do matter. Because a lot of times you get bogged down in all this other stuff, and then you don't really do the things that actually matter.
I love it. It's good. I'm a big guy on efficiency anyway. So once you start talking about like just cutting out the stuff that don't matter,
Right.
that's where I'm at, man. Let's simplify this world and get back to the stuff that actually matters. It always makes me think of Elon Musk, and I know I probably even said it on here before, but his wife always says that he told all of his friends no his whole life, right? I mean, he just, no, I'm not going to go do that with you. No, I'm not pitching in on your little thing. I'm not going to waste my energy, my time, because he worried about what was important to him. And
Right.
that's how we all should be, honestly.
I'll give you one more. And I know I'm sure he ain't listened to our podcast, but Harding University's coach, a guy I'm a huge fan of, Paul Simmons, I think is just one of the greatest people, not just coach, but good person. Try to get him on a podcast, because, man, what a guy. Wouldn't we love to have this guy on here? And he immediately messages back, "Coach, thanks for the offer, but I'm putting things away that aren't allowing me to spend time with my family because I'm so busy coaching." And I just messaged back, said, "Man, 100% understand that.
We
And
preach that, don't we?
thanks for being honest." So I think that's kind of, when we're talking about efficiency, what we're doing, that's kind of what we're going with.
Absolutely. All right, Coach, let's, speaking of efficiency, we'll push on through here. Why don't you share some ways that we can simplify football for our staff and for our players? What's up, coaches? I want to talk to you for just a few moments about your program. The longer I'm in this profession, the more I understand that efficiency is truly the name of the game. You're talking offense, defense, doesn't matter, right? Eventually, you're going to come down to checking out your efficiency. So I have to ask you, are you doing everything in your program the most efficient way, right? Are you fundraising the most efficient way? Are you representing your players and your program to the public in the best way? Are you planning to build the facilities the most efficient way? If you answered no to any of those, or really even if you answered yes to all of them, and you haven't contacted Mark Bridges at Ace Sports, you're missing a key step. So look, Mark and his team, they are the go-to group for video board and scoreboard installations for your school. They're not just football either. Mark can help you mock up your newest video board for your that new stadium, or maybe even your old stadium, right? That's where Mark and the guys come in. And we're not just buying a flashy thing, right? Yes, it's nice. It's pretty neat to have that big scoreboard, that big video board, but you're also, you're investing back into that program. You're investing into that newest fundraiser. Sure, you can keep selling your discount cards, your beef jerky, hosting pie auctions, whatever it is that you like to do. But let's just be honest with ourselves, guys. We're not making enough money for those big ticket items. For the big ticket items like turf, an indoor facility, that's where you need a big ticket item fundraiser. That's what Ace Sports is offering you today. Guys, I've talked to Mark several times now, all right? And it always comes down to big school, small school, right? Well, of course, the big schools can afford that new video board, but the small schools really can't. It's just not true anymore, man. Your school isn't too small, and I promise, okay? 1A, 2A schools, it doesn't matter. Mark and the guys, they're helping them out. Contact Mark today at mark.bridges@acesports.com and let him come give you a quote. Let him show you and your administration the plan. Now, really, it's the cheat code, right? Let him show you the cheat code that is fundraising with Ace Sports video boards. Tell him Daniel sent you. This episode is brought to you by Athletic Speed and Movement. At athleticspeedmovement.com, we've taken Del Basquet's 45 years of speed and movement training and put it all in one place just for you. You can get the same training that NFL players have been getting for years, collegiate players have been getting for years, and now high schools across the nation are paying thousands of dollars to bring Dell in to install his system, but we've got it online for you. It's time to help your team become faster, not just in the 40, not just their sprint speed, but between the tackles and their cuts while they're chasing down the quarterback. It's time for you to help them become faster everywhere. Jump over to athleticspeedmovement.com. There's an orange button there. Just click it. It says, get the keys to playing faster. You'll get the 3 core movement video from Dell. He's explaining the science behind it, all for just the price of your email. Check it out, athleticspeedmovement.com. All right, appreciate that, Coach. Being efficient, I'll try to be efficient with these ads here. Look, you guys just heard most of them. Okay, I've already got them edited in, but I want to make sure you guys are understanding, Ace Sports, what Mark Bridges is doing, absolute hacking the industry. Y'all have seen me the last week, maybe not when this comes out, but if you're watching live, you see me this weekend down at Austin. That's something that I'm taking my time away from my family to go over there with Ace Sports because they're that good of a program. That's what we look for in coaching, is something we can add to our, whatever it is, your program, that brings that much benefit. And that's what Ace Sports has got going for you. Team Builder Practice. You guys may have used Team Builder as a strength conditioning program. They're adding Team Builder Practice now. As I'm speaking live right now on the 3rd of June, it is, I think we're about 10 days out from it actually going live. They just got into the soft release for a little beta testing. It should be coming out. They're doing a 30-day free, I believe, is the current program. So check out that. Get over and get signed up. You get your first 30 days free once it goes live. Winning Edge Performance Analytics. This is a guy that just called me and said, hey, I want to join up with your podcast. He is doing in-game analytics. You can have a coach putting in data. The coolest thing to me, one, you get to see what your opponent's doing. You can self-scout. You can scout your opponent in the game. You see what they're doing every third down, every time it's 2nd and 10, whatever you want to look at. But the coolest thing is you take all that and push it straight to Huddle. You don't have to break down film anymore. You don't have to go in and put all the Huddle data in. You've already done it on game night. So it takes away that when you're trying to tag up a film at the end of Friday night or Saturday morning, whenever you do it, all that time is gone. Get over to Winning Edge Performance Analytics. He's giving you 20% off for this year if you jump over and use the code. I think it's 20 off Coaching 101. So check that out. And then Capital Varsity Sports. Coach, you're a Mike Holes guy. I think he dipped some face masks for you this year. We all know that's like the expensive thing to change on your helmets, is if you want to try to go change the color of your face mask. They made it a price that's at a good price point, so you can change those things over, right? And I love that what Kenny's doing with all the uniform selection. What do you have, like 18 different combinations this year?
We hope so. We were trying to be the Oregon of high school football.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's good. That's good. I love that what y'all are doing for the kids there. Capital Varsity Sports. That's Capital with an O. Capital Varsity Sports, one-stop shop. It doesn't matter what brand helmet you have. He can refurbish them. If you're looking to make a change like face mask, he can dip them and get them back to you. Reach out to Mike Holes for all the things he can offer you. Let's get into it here, Coach. We're talking summer schedule. Obviously, right here tonight, like I said, 3rd of June, summer ball's upon us. Spring ball's over if you've got it. If you don't, you didn't miss it anyway. But we are getting in the summertime. People are starting their programs. So I want to talk about, what events do you put in now that you're in your umpteenth year as a head coach? You have a 14-1 season. Now you know what the good things to put in the summer and what to leave out, talking efficiency. So what are the kind of things you're looking to put into your schedule this summer for your team?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of it's different. So you got to, I work in a lot of different states with a lot of different coaches, and rules are different. You guys up in the northeast, man, I don't know how y'all even play football when you can't touch them till August. So everybody's kind of got different rules. So I'm going to just hit some general things and then talk about some things that we do, with our kids. I think there's a couple of just general principles you have to have. Like, to me, I think you need to make sure you're organizing some things that the kids are going to enjoy. Those could be like super organized things like a camp overnight. Those could be just taking them to a pool. Those could be having kids over and grilling hamburgers or whatever that's going to be. But I think there is an element there that you've got to get your kids to like each other. And I think that some of them might be more natural because you're around each other a lot. But like for us, our kids, I think, like each other. But this is like our baseball guys had a really good season. So they played into like late May. They didn't even get spring football, which I'm glad for them because, you want your teams to win. But now we need to make sure those kids are molding with. We had 2 or 3 kids that have come over that are new. So how do we get these kids together? And I think you've got to be intentional about trying to organize some things that aren't just football. And that could be whatever you want that to be. Generally, something fun and something simple is probably the best way to do that. Then we also do, we're allowed in Arkansas to do padded camps. That's not allowed everywhere else. It could be 7-on-7s, whatever that is in your state. So we're going to have those events that make it fun for kids to show up, because guys get tired of just practicing with each other all the time. Like nobody wants to do that. So if we can go do some events where we can take them and go compete against other people, whether that's with pads on, pads off, whatever that might be, we're going to try to make sure we have some of those competitive events. And then we're also going to obviously work on our workouts, summer workouts. So all of that stuff's got to be kind of coordinated together. We're blessed at Southside. We just hired, I think, his best strength coach in the country, the high school level, and Price Holmes. And so for me, I just kind of say, do what you do. But our general idea basically is we do want our kids to gain strength. This is kind of that last element where you can really gain before you get into season. I'm not saying you can't gain strength in season. I know people have their own philosophies on that. It's just much harder if it's a kid going both ways, just banged up, to really make big gains. Well, the summer is kind of that last chance. For us, we focus on, kind of gaining weight throughout, basically the whole time, but gaining weight specifically in winter and spring and summer, we turn it to speed. We're trying to, because it's warm outside, a lot more opportunities. So we're going to work a lot more speed, explosive type things, just because of the climate that we're in. So that's one part. You get to organize all that stuff together. And then on top of all of that, in my opinion, you got to make sure that they're enjoying it. Like you got to make sure there's some enjoyment to it. You're going to have some kids that are bought in, like they're in. You could be a drill sergeant. It could be the worst experience of their life, and they're going to keep showing up. Everybody has a few of those kids on your team. Maybe you're lucky and have a lot of kids like that on your team. Or maybe you're at the point in your culture where they're going to play just because their dad played or whatever it is. But for the 80 to 70% of the other kids, you need to make sure there's some element of enjoyment. Now, what does that look like? It doesn't mean you're going to make practice all about like having fun and giving out ice cream, but are you making an intent to make practice functional towards what you're doing? Are you trying to meet kids and talk to them one-on-one? Are you trying to do things that show them, hey, you matter to us more than just as a player? I think the summer is your best time to do that, because once you get into the season, everybody's time shrinks. Kids have classes, football, homework, whatever, and coaches, your time is shrunk as well. The summer, you got a lot more time if you can be smart with it.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about, keeping kids kind of happy during this time, right? Like I feel like this is a chance for kids. We want kids to come join the team, right? And we don't know what football season is going to look like for them. We always talk about the kids that look great, they're D1 in t-shirt and shorts, and when you put the pads on, that changes. So it's a great time to get them kind of, maybe indoctrinated is not the best word to use here. It may have a little negative connotation, but get them used to what the team expectations are, what it is like being around these kids. The guys they're about to spend the next, couple, 3 months every day, basically, with these guys. But we have to be really, really careful about burnout. I know we talk about burnout as coaches, but as kids, I feel like we've really stolen kids' ability to just be kids with the multi-sport athlete, with the guy that just goes football, basketball, baseball, and here he is back. And so personal opinion, I feel like you've got to build that into your summer schedule, right? It doesn't need to be 4 or 5 days a week. You start looking at building strength. What do you need? Like 3 days a week. Speed is 2 days a week. If you use the athletic speed movement program, I know that we've had Tony Holler on. I'm not sure how many days he does it, but 2 to 3 days a week. And then letting kids be kids. Let them have that Friday, Saturday, Sunday off so they can go be with their parents. And it also probably going to keep the parents from being so mad at you if you know what I mean, because they need to get vacations in too. And just like coaches, to where generally you get into August and hey, we're locked in. And I know, Kenny, you're a big proponent of like, don't tell your wife goodbye in August and I'll see you in December. We've got to be better about that not being the case. But there is also a lot going on in football from August to December. So there is a little bit of understanding for the kids too. So let them have just chance, just go to the lake, go do whatever kids do in the summertime and not have to be around the football program all the time. 7-on-7 is kind of that weird one because it is a big skill developer for us. Some people really want the trophies, right? They're going to put the trophy in the trophy case if they go out and win a 7-on-7 tournament, which there's nothing wrong with that. Celebrate your victories when you get them. And if that's what your team does, then by all means, go get better. Use it for what it is, but it can quit. I mean, some guys are going, 2 or 3 times, or I guess twice a week. I think there's limitations on what all you can do, but they're going to a camp here and, that's several weeks in a row. And then we're going to go play a couple tournaments and go see who else is out there. That just starts adding up a lot. So
one of the things to think about too, that's new for me this year, not really new, but newer, now that I've got my own son going through and we've got another one that's really good. I've got 2 or 3 guys that have a chance to play college football. That's kind of camp season for them too. Like it's kind of their chance to go potentially, get their college paid for. So you've got to be really, really intentional with those kids too, where, fair is not always equal. Like
right.
I got a kid who's going to try to earn a scholarship on Saturday or Friday or Sunday or whenever that's going to be. I don't need to treat him the same as a kid who's going to get a rest all weekend. And so I think that's something as a high school coach, you got to navigate that too, because they've got to be part of the team, because that's what you want. But you also don't want to mess up their opportunity to maybe, get to go have a big opportunity for them.
Yeah. And it looks like I actually jumped into the wrong stuff as I started talking limitations. The other thing I want to talk about, and it's something I learned from you and Joe, is doing these retreats, like getting these kids together while it is warm outside. Unless you're way up north, and I don't know what y'all's temperature is in the summertime. I assume you can at least go outside. Yeah. But this is where, like down here in the South, we're gonna go camping. Take the whole team and just if somebody's got a little bit of land, you go out, pitch a bunch of tents, cook marshmallows, do the kind of old fashioned camping. Just get away from technology, get away from the speed of the world, and just go out and bond and tell stories and have a good time. I love your like mother-daughter or mother-son dinners and stuff, right? This is a good time to get those out of the way when we don't have to work around practice as much or game nights or travel. There's all that stuff going on. So it seems like a really good time to kind of build those in.
When you're trying to build excitement for the season, I mean, that's the deal. Right now, everybody's undefeated. Everybody right now is undefeated. So how much excitement can I build in my program? Because ultimately, unless you win a state championship, you're not going to be undefeated at the end of it. So you need to build a lot of that goodwill up front as a young coach, especially if you're new, where you're building in some of that stuff. Even as an old coach, it doesn't hurt to do that. But it's also a chance for you to get parents can see you as not the guy that yells at their kid or the guy that they yell at from the stands. Is, oh, this guy's a normal person. That's
right.
kind of an opportunity there.
Yeah, for sure. And you might, if you can build in a lot of these, eliminate some of that Friday night yelling
Correct.
Down from the stands, right? And there's going to be guys that will never come to your summer stuff, but they will come to every Friday night game and yell at you because that's what happens. But this is a good time to kind of bridge those gaps and build up the community buy-in, the parental buy-in. You might pull more kids. Kids start talking about the retreat you have. Look, we have a transfer portal now. So if you've got a chance to take kids over to the water park or take them out to the land to go camping or have a dinner, that might get you a kid or two, right? I mean, you really do have to, like you said,
change your perspective. Like for me, I've got a son who's going to be a senior. So like for me, I've been doing this the last couple of years, but it really lets me know, okay, this is what you should be doing. These kids' last opportunity to do this for their life. Most of them, this is it. So what can you do as a coach to make it as good as possible for them? Make the experience as good as possible. Obviously, winning games is priority one, but what are other things I can do that is going to make this kid's senior year the best it can be?
So we're going to get into limiting factors here, and I know I've kind of already talked my piece, but I kind of want to hear yours, and I see what you have written down. I want to hear those, but then I want to talk about like balancing that, because we are coaches. We do have to win games, and strong and fast kids are going to win more games, and kids that go out and participate in all these skill building events, whether that's your 7-on-7 or your O-line, D-line camps, wherever you're sending them, that's going to help you be more successful in the fall. So I want to hear your piece on that, and then I want to talk about kind of keeping things balanced.
Sure. Yeah. So you're asking kind of like, what do you try to do in the summer to limit things, or what limits you? Is that what you're
Yeah,
kind of
what are your
getting with?
limiting factors? What limits you to what you can do?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of kids we encourage to do multiple sports. Like I was a guy that played 4 sports in high school. My children have played 3 or 4 sports in high school. So we don't just say it, we live it. And so we want our kids to be active. Like we want our kids to be active and play multiple sports. You know, you only get to do high school once. So do everything you can do. But that's limiting. Like if I've got a kid who has a basketball camp and a baseball showcase and football, I've got to be very intentional with what we're doing with this kid. You know, we don't want to get to August and this kid's been going 6 days a week all summer and he's exhausted. So we got to be intentional with, okay, what are we doing with these kids that they have other sports they go to? Like my job is football. So after football's done, I'm done. But some of these kids, they go from football practice to basketball practice to whatever it might be. We got to kind of be on top of that stuff. That can limit, because we don't want a kid to get hurt. So I think that's a big one. Why multi-sports is great. You got to be really careful with those types of kids, because you're talking about maybe 4 hours worth of practices in one day. That's going to wear anybody out. Second thing I would say is time. You mentioned it, time spent with family. You know, and I'll kind of get on this real quick. Like, I don't think when the season starts, you have to say goodbye to your family. But if you're being honest, your work day just went from whatever it was in the summer to probably somewhere in the 12 to 14 hour range. Like, I don't think you can do a service to your team without putting in certain amounts of time. Like, there's no way around that. Now, I do think there's things as coaches, we just mentioned at the start of the show, that we do that don't even really matter. You know, we kind of create work that doesn't have to be there. But there's no shortcuts to some of the things you have to do. So your time is going to be limited. I mean, my wife knows this. We've been married now 24 years yesterday. So 24 years.
Happy
Thank you.
anniversary. Let's
I got
go.
you. That's right. It's hard to imagine that because she's only 30. So it's weird. But anyway, we've been married 24 years. But so she knows, like, August, this year we played it to December. I'm going to be very limited. I'm not going to ignore her. We're going to try to find times to go on dates. We're going to try to find times to do things, but that's going to be limited. Where the summer, why are we making it more limited? Like, we don't do anything in our program from Thursday at 9 a.m. Like, we're done Thursday at 9 a.m. till next Monday. So you've got all Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday to go do what you need to do. Then with my coaches and my players, unless we have an event, like today we had a camp, but unless we have an event at 9 a.m., the players are gone. And by 10 a.m., most of our coaches are gone, because go be with your family. You know, go do what you got to do. A lot of times I'm stuck up there till 2 or 3 with those fun meetings I was talking about. But there's no reason to make all the coaches be there for that. So
Right.
we want to be real cognizant of vacation time, family time. A lot of our kids have to work to help support the family. So you got to be cognizant of that too. Final thing I'd put on there is burnout. Like, I think you got to be really, really, really careful that you don't burn your kids out before the season even starts. I see a lot of, especially younger coaches, I was in that mindset too, where, yes, Daniel, you hit the nail on the head. The more events you do, the better you're going to get. And so that can become kind of addictive. Oh, well, if we did one team camp a week, what if we did 2? We could get even better. And that's true. But how many of your kids are done before the season starts at that point? Like, where you've been asking them to show up 5 days a week, 2 big major events, the X number of lifts, and now you're August 2nd, you haven't even started real practice yet, and you lost 4 or 5 kids that quit because they didn't want to give their life to football. And then you also have several kids that might be hurt or banged up. And then you have kids that are mentally burned out. So you got to be real careful with how you handle the summer. And I've always, again, that's a Tony Holler deal, but you always want to leave them wanting more. Like, if they leave the summer and they're excited for the season, that's good. Now you've got them where you can get them moving. Now, there's a fine balance because you do want to improve as the summer goes on. But I'll say this, I don't know how many teams I've ever seen win a state championship in September. Generally, teams that are really good get better as the season goes on because their coaches understand this principle. Like, we don't want to peak in September because we've worked all summer and we're so far ahead of everybody that coming out the gate, we win that August 28th game, but what are you going to look like in October? I've seen a lot of teams that they're not real great in August and September. Right. But man, when they start clicking, look out. And I think that's, again, it depends where your program is. If you're a program that's just struggling for wins, you may need to put more time in the summer to get some of those early season wins. If you're a program that's trying to step forward into the playoffs and that type of stuff, I'd probably be a little bit easier in the summer, and then kind of work forward.
You mentioned something earlier about 9 o'clock players are gone, 10 o'clock, most of the coaches are gone. And I think that's something that you and Joe have kind of taught me, and you've already ingrained on my brain, is stop just hanging out at the office just to be at the office, right? You did say earlier, like, there's a certain amount of time you got to put in, but there ain't no stopwatch that you have to just wait for all them hours to run out. You know what I mean? And it should be okay for coaches that have done their job and they've got whatever they can go, man, go home. And we shouldn't, as a coaching community, be frowning upon guys who just want to get in, get the job done, and get out. Let them go. Let them go with their family, especially in the summertime, right? Because there's things in the fall where you're gonna be, hey, we got to problem solve this. We have to figure this out. We have to have this done today. And there's a lot more going on, a lot more hours of work to get done. That's summertime. Get in, get your lift, get your run, whatever it is, and get out. Go home. Get away from us. And we shouldn't be like frowning upon guys that just want to do that or making them feel guilty about it. Last one here. So how are you adding on throughout the summer?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that we try to do, and I'm not saying it's what everybody else should do, but it may give people an idea at least. Is, first thing for us is scheme. What are you trying to do here? And guys have different philosophies on this. And I think it matters where you are in your program and where you are with whatever you're running philosophically. Like, if you're running something brand new, then my mind would be, we better get good at the basics and then slowly add through the summer. Like, that's the way we always operated for a long, long time, because we were kind of new at what we were doing. As we've got to the point where now we've run the same offensive system now for 8, 9, 10 years. I mean, it's changed, but it's similar. Same thing on defense. Then we've kind of flipped that on its head. We put a lot of stuff in the spring, a lot. And then we go into these June camps and we just say, let's try this. Like today, we did not run the ball to the quick side except for twice. We did not get unbalanced except for once, because I got really mad at our tight end for missing a block. And so we were going to work on these specific things, and a lot of it was stuff that it was new to us and we're not good at, because we need to see what we can do. And then we will actually pare down as the summer goes on scheme. We have a lot in, and then we start going, all right, let's give this 4 or 5 weeks here. And then, nope, we still suck at this, get it out. We're bad at this, get it out. We're really good at this, let's put more emphasis on it. So we're kind of different just because we've been running the same stuff. But as the summer goes on, we actually will do less and less new stuff. Now, if you're running a new system, I probably would reverse engineer that. I'd be really good at base stuff and then slowly add wrinkles kind of as we went. And so that's just something you need to think about where you are in your program. And that's kind of how we handle scheme. Then we also, I'm up front with our players. I say, guys, in the spring, it's pretty much equal reps. Like if you show up here and you got a helmet and shoulder pads, you're going to get on the field, you're going to get a chance. That's just kind of how it is. We go through summer. So now we've got the spring game. We've kind of had our first evaluation. So we go to summer, then we kind of phase that. We have June and then July. Kind of it's two different. We have a big break right there in the middle. I think most states probably do. So June, we're still going to be pretty open. Like we're still going to be giving lots of guys opportunities. It's not as many because after you go through the spring, you probably have those. If you get a roster of 60 kids, you probably have those 10 kids. You're like, okay, these guys, they're just not ready this year for whatever reason. They'll play JV because they need to develop or whatever that might be. But so now we might have gone from 60 to 50. And then June, we're going to evaluate. And then we'll pair that from 50 to maybe 40. And then July is kind of, we tell our kids, this is kind of make or break. And I said, I would like to play 50 kids every game. If you're ready, you'll play. We don't have a hard number. Like we don't say we're going to play 30 or we're going to play 20 or we're going to play, some years we're going to play 11. Some years we're going to play 40. It just depends on which ones of you work your way through. But that's what we're doing throughout the summer is we're paring down reps. Like you were getting equal reps. And then how you competed and showed us you were ready, your reps will go up or they will go down. We're not going to take them away. We're not going to give you all of them, but they're going to move because we want to be as upfront with kids as possible. Like you compete hard, you show us you can do what you can do. We're going to evaluate every kid. We're going to reward that. Or on the opposite, we're going to have to handle that business too. So we're kind of doing that stuff throughout the summer as well. So by the time we get to August, because in my mind, by the time we get to August, we ought to kind of know within reason who's going to play on Friday nights, who's going to play on, for us, Monday nights, JV. And so we want to kind of learn that stuff as we go. And we're up front with our kids. I mean, some of them, they'll bloom later. They take more time. Some are new to football. Some are new to varsity. It takes some time to get there. But you can usually tell who's going to be ready to, to get a little bit of that action pretty early on. Then for us, we're also trying to find out who we are. If you've played against me, if you've heard me talk, we're going to run buck sweep. Like that's just what we're going to do. But that does not necessarily mean that's going to be our best play that year. I mean, like I'd like to say that it is. I would like it to be our best play. But some years, man, it's been our inside run because we're bigger, thicker, stronger kids. We're more downhill, and that's become kind of who we are. But we need to find what are we going to do. And if you want to know who you are, ask yourself this question. If the game's on the line and it's 4th and 3 with your season, what are you going to call? That's who you think you are. If it's season's on the line and it's 3rd and 10, you got to convert. What are you doing? That's who you are in the passing game. Like that's who you are. Like whatever you answered on that is who you are. And if you said, I don't know, then that's also your answer. You don't know who you are. And that's what we're trying to find out in the summer. Like if you think, like if I think right now, we just had a team camp. If I think I know who we are and what we're going to do the rest of the season, I'm ignorant. I have no idea. Like, let's see how we develop this summer to find out what we're going to be. I have some ideas of what we're going to be. I have some thoughts of what I want us to be, but you need to use the summer to really kind of find out not only what are you not good at, but what are you really good at. And then that's where I think really good coaches, you'll see them from June to the 1st of August take big steps forward. And they do the same thing from August, because the next phase of this, I know we're just talking about summer. For me, the next phase of this is from August to September. We're making those same kind of jumps, same kind of idea. That's how we structure ours. And big thing for me is that we've added in this new. I got it from a coach who has won a state championship, and he's been in a couple of good ones. So I thought, okay, he's doing this, and it seems to be working. But it was still a leap of faith. So we give our kids off the last week of this summer. So we're very blessed. We get to take them to St. Louis to Oakville and do a big camp with a bunch of gun team schools, which is really cool. We're going to do it like July 24th or 25th, like kind of one of those days. We still could have another week of summer before we get to the season. But for the last 5 years since I've been a head coach, we've given our kids and our coaches off that week. I guess not mandated by the state. We give them off. I need it off. Our kids need it off. Our coaches need it off. Does that put us a week behind everybody? I mean, maybe. I don't know. But what I think it does is it recharges our batteries. We had a good summer. We got after it. Go be away. We're going to come back the first day of real football. We're going to get after it. Now, that first week back, my coaches probably hate me because we get after it in practice and we meet as coaches. We do our father-son deal, our mother-son deal, our media day. So that week as a coach, they don't like me very much. But they had the week off before, and they love that part. And so far, that's been really good to let our kids kind of recharge. And now we're excited heading into August, getting ready for the real games.
I had a question I thought of in there, but I guess I don't remember what it was. Your JV, they're going to practice with your varsity throughout, right? So so when they start losing reps, you start paring them down. How are you kind of ensuring they're still getting development, although they have the lack of reps?
We still structure practice. I mean, it's going to be everybody's getting equal individual reps. Like we're doing individual reps, we're getting equal reps. When we go to our pod work, which is kind of like small group work, if you've not heard of that before, we're getting pretty close to equal reps in that too. So it's not like they're not getting reps at the skills that they need. Right. It just shows up at team. Like when we go to team, they're not going to get a ton of reps there. Like now, what we do a lot, especially in the summer, but even early in the fall, is just to make it go quicker for our defense and our offense, we just go against our own look. Like we just say, look, just JV defense, just run our defense. Don't try to get in a 4-3. I don't need a scout look. Just that allows them, though, to run their defense. So they are getting reps. They're just not getting reps with the ones. Same thing when we're doing scout team offense. We're going to run our offense at least once or twice a week so those kids get a chance to to do our stuff.
That's awesome. The football break, I love that. I had a question about conditioning. So I know you're Feed the Cats guy now, and you've basically eliminated conditioning from the regular season. Where in the summer does that cut happen? Are you actually doing conditioning in the summertime, or is that just speed work?
We never condition. No.
I love it. I love it. And it's so much success last year, so it obviously works.
Well, it's one of the deals where it's until you do it, it's hard because as a coach, you're kind of thinking, what about our two-way guy? What about our this? But I think we play ourselves into shape. So if you're going to make that decision, where in practice are you giving game-like simulations?
Yeah.
And that's just something you have to ask yourself because you can't do no conditioning and practice slow. Like that doesn't work.
I love it. I love it, man. Sweet. Well, man, we kind of went right through that pretty quick. But efficient, right? We just talked about it. Don't make work where we don't need work.
Efficient.
All right, so let's jump into this what not to do as a coach.
Yeah, so what not to do as a coach. This is straight from Tony Holler, but by the way, I heard retired this week. Last year coaching. So congratulations to him if he's listening to this. But he always had a statement that was don't overcook the steak. Like that was kind of his deal. So now I've brought in, who I've mentioned him already on here before. Got to get him on the podcast. Bryce Holmes, I think is one of the premier strength guys, conditioning guys, speed guys at the high school level. I've been jealous of not having him, so I went over and stole him from another staff and hired him over. But the way he kind of phrases it, I really like. Where Tony says least effective dose. Like that's what he's looking for is what's the least effective dose. Price, and I want him to speak for himself when he gets on here, is talking about what is the most effective dose he can do without burning the steak. Like that's kind of where he differs from Tony
Yeah.
and where he and I see eye to eye a lot more. Because in football, I don't think you can just do the least effective dose because there is something about timing and rhythm and all that stuff. So figuring out what's the most we can do without overcooking the steak, without burning our kids out, without making our kids hate football, without making kids get hurt. And so you want to try to push to that. But another old coach told me, you're not going to win the Kentucky Derby with a mule. Like you need to get your racehorse to the starting line. And if you have 3 or 4 racehorses, put them jokers in bubble wrap and get them to the starting line because you got a good chance of winning if they're on the field. And if 2 or 3 of them are not on the field for whatever other reason, your odds of winning went down quite a bit. So you need to be thinking about that stuff in the summers. Yes, we have to get better. We have to get tough. That's a big word in football. It should be. Football is toughness. Football is not about stupidity and wearing your kids out. And so there's a fine line in both of those things that you've got to balance.
I have been kind of studying the Bronco Mendenhall state of mind, and he's really big into that right now, right? And he's talking about what is the minimum amount of time I can spend. He wants to have the least hours worked in college football, right? Like that's his idea. And same thing. Now, is that least effective dose or most effective dose without burning the steak? I don't know. But I think that's where we all have to start being is not only with your practices and your scheme and how much your kids are doing, but with your coaches and with family. Like, get home, go home.
Well,
So
here's what I've learned when you start doing that, because guys look at that and they see, if they're hearing you and me talk right now, they're hearing lazy. Like old guys like me, when they hear us talk, Bronco Mendenhall talk, Tony Holler talk, they hear lazy.
Yeah.
What I've learned, and this is a quote from one of my other team themes book, it was Abraham Lincoln said, if I have to cut down a tree and I have 8 hours to cut down the tree, I'm going to spend the first 7 hours sharpening the blade. And I think that's what I think of minimum effective dose means. I've had to put a lot of time and effort and energy into creating an efficient system. So you're not going to get a shortcut. Like you don't get to just be lazy and roll out there and do this. To do what we're talking about means you've had to put a ton of research and time in on the front end. So yes, on the back end of it, it does look like we're not spending a lot of time here. But we've had to spend hours upon hours upon hours preparing. And so if you're hearing this, that's what you've got to do. Like if you're running a 3-hour, who was it, Tony Aller again? Any fool can make another fool tired. Like, it don't take much. Go out there and watch a Pee-wee practice if you want to see that. Like, what are you doing to be efficient? And then if you can become efficient, then now it looks to the outside world like you're not doing very much.
I love it, man. It's all about the system. Sweet. Let's talk about some ads real quick, sponsors, and we'll get out of here. Ace Sports, Mark Bridges, mark.bridges at acesports.com. Hit him up if you're ready to start. Really, you want to talk about being lazy? That's a cheat code in fundraising right there. You get to just put up the board and you kind of get to be a little bit lazy. Or maybe just efficient. Team Builder Practice. Team Builder is this right now kicking off their brand new practice scheduler. Guys, I'm telling you, the coolest thing that I liked about it was you just create your own drill notebooks on the internet. And it's the same as Huddle, the same as everything else where your guys can be shared. They can go and be a viewer and they can watch it. There's so many ways you can send it home to parents. Parents can be viewers of your practice schedule and they know what time to pick up Joey. Or if your kiddos need to be doing some drills in the summertime, but they're on vacation, they can have drills right there in the practice schedule. They can go watch and see how to do the drill effectively. Lots and lots and lots of creative ways to use what Team Builder's doing over at Team Builder Practice. It's teambuilder.com/practice. And then Winning Edge Performance Analytics. Listen, when I worked with Coach and he showed me that system, I just thought how neat it would be to know at halftime what the heck is beating us or where are we stumbling or whatever it is that's the problem we need to solve at halftime. It's no more, all the coaches trying to come together and everybody's trying to say what the numbers tell you. The numbers tell you what's doing effective against you and what isn't. Are we being efficient or are we not? Is it formations? Is it plays? What's the thing that's going to make us successful and go win this game? Still, one of the coolest aspects is just taking all the data you've input because you're putting it in by formation, by play call, by all your tags can go in there. whatever you're doing, your blitzes, your stunts, you just export it and it goes right into Huddle and your film is already tagged. And it's not somebody in there tagging it where they're going to mess up on the typing. It is pre-typed out. You've already got it put in. Man, it's just going to save you a ton of time because you're tagging the film as you're playing the game. So Winning Edge Performance Analytics, 20% off right now with 20 off Coaching 101 code. If you have any issues with that, holler at me. I'll get you set up. Social media, I'm at Coach Chambo OK on Twitter/X. You can email me at chamberlainfootballconsulting@gmail.com. If you need to have a conversation, hit me up there. I do have a website, chamberlainfootballconsulting.com, and then patreon.com/chamberlainfootballconsulting. If you need to make your systems better, if that's how you're celebrating your kids, how you're doing social media, graphics, some playbook stuff, you want to learn little X's and O's, what I use, by all means, hit me up, jump over on patreon.com. And then there's a YouTube out there somewhere, Coach Chambo OK. Kenny, what you got?
Man, all things FB Coach Simpson. So FB Coach Simpson at gmail.com is my email, at FB Coach Simpson at Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it, and then FBCoachSimpson.com. We did just drop the newest headsets, so that's kind of exciting. A lot of good stuff in there. We got one or two more of those going on, and then there's some other content over there.
Love it. Podcast is at Coaching 101 Pod on Twitter/X. We want to thank you for being a listener to the Coaching 101 podcast. We hope you'll join us next week as we continue to make the complex more simple. Please consider subscribing to the show so you'll always know when the new episodes are out. We'll leave you with this. It's hard to beat someone who never gives up. No matter the situation, find a way.